guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm Nicole Kauffman, and today I'm going to share with you a 26-week pregnancy update. I have not done a pregnancy update before. This is my first one, so I'm going to try to fit a lot in to one video. And I also want to talk about how my health conditions affect my pregnancy, because I know this is something that's really important for me to share, just because it's really hard to find helpful information on them. So I definitely want to let you know how those affect my pregnancy at the end. So for now, if you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button to be notified when I do more pregnancy videos or my Monday motivation videos that come out every Monday. So hit that subscribe and give this video a like if you're excited to hear about how my pregnancy's been, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. This is something that has been exciting and fun. So let's go ahead and get started. So I just want to start with saying that yesterday I got a ultrasound at 26 weeks. With my health conditions, I have to get a bunch of ultrasounds, so it's kind of fun being able to see the baby as there's all the growth and just seeing all the different changes. So before I let it slip, I'm just going to tell you, we found out the gender at, I think, 18 weeks at our ultrasound, and that was our first big ultrasound, and we both had decided we wanted to find out the gender. A lot of our friends aren't finding out the gender, but I know that I'm the type of person, I just need to be able to prepare, need to be able to get excited. I don't like surprises. I like to just know what to expect, and I am so glad that we found out, just because I was really starting to be like, I hated calling the baby an it, and I really wanted to just be able to picture and get excited for whether it was a boy or a girl. We both kind of had an inkling that it would be a girl, and so we kind of wanted to be sure whether it was a girl, so we're not getting excited about that. And just to let you know, we found out that it is a boy. I got this little cute outfit when we found out, because I feel like I always want something tangible. I love this. It says Wild About Mom, and it's super cute. And it's just crazy to think that like this little baby in here is going to fit into this pretty soon. So I'm super excited about that. Got the outfit at Target, love it. I'll link to it below if I can find it. So yeah, we found out that it's a boy. It was super fun telling our family. So we got the ultrasound yesterday, and everything has been going really well. The baby's growing really healthy, is on the literally exact average curve line of growth. So that's been really good and really encouraging, just because I know with my health conditions there can sometimes be some complications. So the ultrasound was super fun. I'll have to insert, I don't think you're going to be able to see these pictures, but I got all these pictures yesterday, so I'll have to insert some actual pictures of them over top. There's this really super cute side profile 3D picture. I loved our ultrasound tech. She was so fun. And I just love when they're easy to talk to and they just tell you everything that they're looking at, because you know, sometimes it's really hard to tell what you're looking at. But so that was fun, and everything was good with that, which was definitely good news. I'll have another one in 6 weeks, which is the day after Christmas. Crazy. And then that might be my last one until we are due in February. So in terms of symptoms, my first trimester kind of went into weeks 15 and 16. The symptoms kind of dragged on, which wasn't very fun, and I was starting to get nervous they were going to stick around long term. But I actually started feeling better around week 16, 17. I started to get my appetite back, which was literally the best part of the second trimester for me, because not being able to eat is really hard. It's really hard when you like are constantly feeling like you know you're hungry and you know you should eat, but you just feel like you're going to throw up if you eat. And so I definitely loved being able to have my appetite back. And I lost weight in the first trimester, so it was nice to be able to finally start gaining weight and know that things are going well, because I knew the baby needed nutrition and I was not getting very much of it. And I lost some of the aversions that I had. I had so many aversions in the first trimester, it was ridiculous. And it was all to like healthy foods. So healthy foods were like out the window for me in the first trimester, which was really tough. But in the second trimester, weeks 17 and 18, I finally started getting some more energy. I started getting my appetite back, which was really great. So as my appetite grew, I started getting some cravings, not anything crazy. Thankfully, most of them are healthy. I started craving bananas. It was like 2 weeks that I literally was eating like 3 bananas a day. And then my weirdest craving, I would say, was pumpkin, which works well because it's just about Thanksgiving season. It was October when this started, and I don't know if it's like a mental thing, but I started craving pumpkin like crazy, and not like pumpkin desserts, not pumpkin cake, not pumpkin things, but actual pumpkin. And I made a recipe. I think I made pumpkin chipotle pasta. And as I was like scooping the pumpkin out of the can into the into the pan, I started just like, oh, maybe I'll just try a bite. And I started realizing like I'm just craving pumpkin straight out of the can. And I knew in my head that that's kind of gross, but I wanted it so bad that it just tasted good. So I started finding some more creative ways, like putting pumpkin with butter and spices and warming it up and eating that as more of a dessert. So that worked well. So bananas, pumpkins, mushrooms, I actually started craving. So some weird things, but not too crazy, which is good. So those are my cravings so far. So one thing that I really love is that I feel him moving so much. So I'll go ahead and show you my bump. Here's the bump, and his head is like all the way down and his feet are like up here. So I feel him moving a ton, which is really uncomfortable, but I do love it because it's nice to like see him in there. And I actually, instead of feeling him kick and having my husband like feel the kicks, we love just like sitting, like anytime I like sit back like this, he'll start moving and you can see my stomach going like this, and it's just so fun to watch. Like my husband's like, there's an alien in there, like it literally looks like something's turning over. So that has been really fun. I love actually seeing him kick and just out of my peripheral seeing my like shirt go like woo, like all of a sudden. So that's been cool and definitely a more exciting part. Some of the symptoms that aren't as fun, I had some really severe leg cramps in the morning when I would wake up. Like the second I would move my foot, I'd get a severe leg cramp. This was also around the time that I was craving bananas. So I don't know if the bananas helped with that, or I started drinking a lot more water. I've heard a bunch of different like ideas of what they come from. Thankfully, those have subsided a little bit. I still get a lot of foot cramps and definitely some leg cramps, but not as severe for now. My hips definitely get sore at night now, so I sleep with a pillow between my knees. It's definitely gotten better with that, so that helps. My pillow is kind of flat. It's an old pillow, so I need to get one that's a little bit puffier because I think that would help more. But I do try and turn over from side to side. I'm naturally a side sleeper, so that helps. But actually when I sleep on my left side, the way that he kicks me is really painful, so I mostly sleep on my right side. But the pillow between the knees really, really helps with hip pain. I started rubbing coconut oil on my belly. I actually started using it on my hands and my arms. Like my skin is just very dry right now, and I know it's becoming winter here and it's cold and the heat's running, but I also think that is part of pregnancy, getting dry skin. So like my face constantly is breaking out in this like weird rash because it's super dry. So I've been trying to find some natural moisturizers, and I've been using grapeseed oil, coconut oil, things like that. But for my belly, to prevent stretch marks, I actually have just been using coconut oil. I'll just scoop it out, rub it together so it melts, and like rub it on just plain. And I think it smells great. I know you can like mix stuff in it. I'm going to be making a natural body butter soon, so I'm going to try that as well. That will include coconut oil and some other things like shea butter and cocoa butter. Okay, so now to talk a little bit about how my health conditions have affected my pregnancy. So the first health condition that I want to talk about is Chiari Malformation. I was diagnosed with this several years ago, 2012, which would have been before I was even married, back in college. And I got an MRI because I had had headaches, and they found this Chiari Malformation, which is essentially, I'll insert a little picture here, where your brain kind of herniates down into your spinal column a little bit, and thankfully mine isn't really severe, but it's definitely something they want to watch, and actually getting diagnosed with that led to finding my other health condition, which thankfully that is where most of my symptoms come from, because Chiari requires surgery, and I definitely don't want to have to go forward with that. So that's something that has been a huge consideration through pregnancy, because pregnancy has been said to possibly worsen symptoms, possibly trigger symptoms in people who've never had them before. So I ended up getting an MRI a few weeks ago, and to check to make sure that everything was stable from my previous MRI, that, you know, the herniation hadn't gotten worse, that things hadn't gotten any worse, or anything was different. I know they look for intracranial pressure. They want to make sure that everything else is good in there before you would give birth vaginally, and the pressure that comes with that. The other consideration with that is the epidural and the spinal tap. There's so many different conflicting things online, but there's a lot of case studies, which is essentially when they just look at women who have given birth in different ways and just see whether or not they were symptomatic before or that symptoms worsened. So there's not really a lot of studies done on this because, as they say, it's hard to do studies on pregnant women. So with the epidural, sometimes they say that that can change the pressure in your spinal column and actually worsen symptoms. There's a couple different contraindications to an epidural with that. However, thankfully it seems that my Chiari is actually a small enough herniation that there isn't going to be much to worry about with that health condition with the epidural or spinal tap. I know that there is a lot out there saying that it can make it worse. So I think for myself, I definitely, for this one specifically, want to avoid as much risk as possible. So I am going to opt for no epidural, and hopefully I can give birth vaginally and not need a C-section, because that would be having to make the decision then if I would get a spinal tap or go under general anesthesia. So that's Chiari Malformation. Let me know if you want to know more about it, because I have so many thoughts in my head from going to some neurologists and neurosurgeons and different doctors. So let me know in the comments if you want to know more about that. I can make a video on that specifically. The second one that I want to talk about is Ehlers Danlos Syndrome. This one's a lot more common, and this one affects your connective tissue. So I'll include a link just to the Ehlers Danlos Society so that if you're curious what it is, you can learn more about it there. So the main thing that they are worried about, from what I've gathered, is cervical insufficiency. So your cervix actually shortening way before it's time to give birth. So that's what they're actually, one of the main things they're checking in all my ultrasounds is making sure that that is fine, because otherwise we would need to go into some more serious plans of action. So thankfully everything has been good with that. They just measure your cervix every time and make sure it's staying like a healthy length, and that's something that if you have EDS and you're pregnant, definitely ask your doctor about. You definitely want to be on top of checking that and making sure that everything is okay there. Another thing, because with EDS your joints are looser and your connective tissue is already looser, and when you're pregnant your body releases hormones that helps you to loosen those ligaments and joints and everything so that you can give birth. So that can increase a lot of the laxity that you already have. So dealing with more aches and pains and just ligament pain, so like the round ligament pain I had a lot of. Thankfully so far it hasn't been terrible. They really recommended that I get some sort of like belly band or support band. So I'm sure as my belly gets bigger, I'm going to be looking for one of those. If you have any recommendations, definitely let me know. If I find a good one, I'll include a link in the description when I do in the future. So that's definitely something to be aware of with EDS and pregnancy. The other thing is just keeping up with strengthening exercises to help with those aches and pains. I know I have a lot of neck pain, so I've been trying to keep up with some strengthening exercises. I've been trying to do some more walking so that I can just keep my body active, and hopefully help it as much as I possibly can. So I'm actually thinking of making a video on Ehlers Danlos Syndrome and pregnancy, and going into all the research that has been done and the specific things that can be affected by it. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you subscribe so that when I do release that, which maybe next week or maybe in a few weeks, you can get notified. So hit subscribe so that you can be notified about that. Overall, my pregnancy has been really good. The first trimester was rough, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. It wasn't as bad as I hear some people struggle with. And the second trimester has actually been a lot of fun. It's, you know, people say enjoy your pregnancy, and in the beginning I was like, I have no idea what they're talking about. Like, I don't want any of these symptoms. I know it's not going to get a ton better, but I just want the baby to be here. And I still am super impatient, and I'm super excited for the baby to get here. But I have started to enjoy the pregnancy and enjoy this time with my husband and preparing and getting excited for decorating our nursery, which I will do a video on soon. And I've just been getting just really excited and enjoying the quiet moments that we have now, because I know our life will forever be changed once we have this little guy. So that's pretty much my pregnancy update for now. I will probably be doing another one at some point, maybe after my next ultrasound sometime before we give birth. And I'm definitely planning on talking about natural labor at some point, because that's something that I'm planning on. There are a lot of risks with both Chiari and with EDS with the epidural and spinal tap. Apparently I learned there's more with EDS than Chiari, which was surprising to me. So I'm going to be aiming for a natural birth as long as I wouldn't need a C-section. So I definitely will be talking about that, but if you have any tips or any videos that have been helpful for you, please comment them below. I would love to check them out. and learn more about that, because that's something I'm starting to research and it can be very overwhelming. So yeah, if you like this video, give it a like. If you want to hear more updates, definitely let me know, and let me know in the comments below anything you can relate to or anything you're excited about if you're pregnant, or maybe let me know something I can look forward to as I start to get more uncomfortable and start to have more symptoms in the 3rd trimester. But if you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.